Yayoi Kusama, the polka dot queen of infinity. When you walk into a Yayoi Kusama exhibit, you step into another universe. Rooms filled with glowing dots, mirrors that stretch space into infinity, pumpkins that look both playful and eerie. She's the polka dot queen, one of the most famous living artists in the world. But behind the dazzling installations is a story of trauma, obsession, and resilience. This is the life of Yayoi Kusama, the woman who turned her struggles into endless fields of art. Yayoi Kusama was born in 1929 in Matsumoto, Japan, into a wealthy but troubled family. Her childhood was scarred by her parents' volatile marriage. Her mother was controlling and often cruel. Her father was unfaithful, and her mother forced young Yayoi to spy on him. As a child, Kusama began experiencing hallucinations. She saw patterns and dots spreading across walls, clothes, and her own skin. She described it as a field of endless, repetitive dots, as if the universe itself was swallowing me. For most, this would be terrifying. For Kusama, it became art. Polka dots became her way to make sense of the chaos in her mind. In post-war Japan, Kusama felt trapped. She struggled against conservative expectations for women. Her art, wild, repetitive, avant-garde, was dismissed. So in 1957, she took a leap. She moved to New York City with almost no money, a suitcase of drawings, and a dream of making it as an artist. At first, she was unknown, scraping by in tiny apartments, but New York was fertile ground. She connected with Andy Warhol, Klaus Oldenburg, and other avant-garde figures, and slowly she began to stand out. In the 1960s, Kusama unveiled her infinity net paintings, vast canvases covered in tiny, endless loops and dots. They were obsessive, hypnotic, and groundbreaking. She then took it further with infinity mirror rooms. Using mirrors, lights, and repetition, she created spaces where visitors could step into the hallucinations she'd known since childhood. It wasn't just art. It was an experience, immersive, infinite, overwhelming. Kusama wasn't just about dots and mirrors. In the late 1960s, she staged radical performance art happenings. She organized nude protests in public places, Times Square, Central Park, even the MoMA fountain. Participants, covered in polka dots, danced and posed as Kusama painted their bodies. These events were part protest, against the Vietnam War, against conformity, and part performance, blurring the line between life and art. The press called her the polka dot priestess. Some saw genius, others saw scandal, but no one could ignore her. Despite her creativity, Kusama faced sexism, racism, and exploitation in New York. Male artists borrowed her ideas and claimed credit. Her mental health worsened. In 1973, exhausted and depressed, Kusama returned to Japan. She voluntarily entered a psychiatric hospital in Tokyo in the 1970s, and she's lived there ever since. From that hospital, she walks to her nearby studio daily, creating art non-stop. Far from fading, her career blossomed again in the 1990s and 2000s. The world finally caught up to her vision. Kusama's pumpkins became another symbol of her art, playful, patterned, yet strangely haunting. She called them comforting childhood friends. And of course, the dots. Always the dots. For Kusama, dots are more than decoration. They're the universe, the self dissolved into infinity, the proof that we are just one tiny point in an endless field. By the 21st century, Kusama had become a global superstar. Her infinity mirror rooms draw millions worldwide, with visitors lining up for hours just to spend 30 seconds inside. She's collaborated with Louis Vuitton, staged retrospectives at major museums, and become one of the most influential artists alive. And she's still creating, into her 90s. Every day she paints, writes, and dreams up new infinity rooms. Kusama's art is beautiful, yes, but it's also deeply human. It's about obsession, trauma, healing, and connection. She took her mental illness, her hallucinations, and her isolation and transformed them into something millions can share. She once said, "If it were not for art, I would have killed myself a long time ago." Her work isn't just polka dots, it's survival. So the next time you see one of her glowing infinity rooms, remember, you're not just in a room of mirrors. You're inside Kusama's world, her mind, her trauma, her obsession, her resilience. And somehow she makes it feel joyful. Thank you so much for watching and diving into the infinite life of Yayoi Kusama. If you enjoyed this story, please give the video a like. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be honored if you joined us, so I can keep bringing you more dazzling, strange, and inspiring stories from art history. See you in the next one. Much love to all.